Yooosin. Hey, we're back today with our To Hunt to Killer series on Blair Witch, and this is Box 3. And if you ever want to check out some of our other ones, look right here.
Right up.
We've got a playlist right there for you.
Remember, if you guys like these videos, hit that like button, and if you want more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to keep the content rolling.
Let's get into it, guys.
Let's get into it.
Liam's still missing.
Well, before we do, don't we have some stuff to go
we
through?
have an always an email. This one's the smallest one we've had so far. It literally just says, a post on the Burkittsville Good Fences page has been marked urgent. Please click here to view the post.
Okay.
It didn't say please, I said please because I wanted to sound nice about it.
Okay. So you'd add in the manners. We'll write that down.
Okay. So this is like someone screen capped a Facebook message.
Good Fences. And it's like a post.
Alright, it says Neighborhood Watch Update, Attempted Arson. Hello everyone, I'm sure you've heard about this through the grapevine already, but for the sake of full transparency, I'm going to be posting about it from my perspective as a member of the Neighborhood Watch. At 8:15 a.m. yesterday, 2 members of the Neighborhood Watch saw what appeared to be smoke rising from the home of a local woman. They immediately called the sheriff's office as well as the fire department. Officers arrived on the site within minutes to find, in the words of the on-site volunteers, a woman in her backyard attempting to light a large fire at the edge of the Black Hills Forest. Her yard appeared overgrown and unkempt. When confronted, this woman began to brandish an improvised torch and claimed the woods were going to swallow up her home. The deputies on the scene were able to calm the woman down after promising to call a landscaper to the premises. I will make it my personal mission to ensure that this resident is issued a citation for her actions if she has not been issued one already.
So, we get a crazy lady.
Right, I was going to say, so that's what I got from that.
That
Is that we're on the same page for that? That was just a crazy lady?
She might have ripped some gnarly acid.
Yeah, possibly.
All right, something's going on. Okay.
I'm just going to say,
what's this?
This feels like it has some stuff in it.
Is it really? This is nothing, right?
Feel it.
11 items?
Give it a little
This
touch.
is thick, boy.
Right here.
Yeah, no, there's some
stuff
there's
in
some
there.
shits in there.
So that's our little hints and stuff.
To complete this episode, we have to check all documents and items for clues, decipher all coded messages, and help Rosemary complete her objective. And then when we know the solution, that's what we do.
So we got a little coaster or something.
Oh no.
The
She
wood
etched
carving
something into
with
that.
etches.
Okay.
Take a look.
Dude, this actually feels like a real tree, kind of.
We got our little message from Rosemary, and look what's going on here. There's like...
Yeah, like she was stamping and without ink or something.
We got sheriff's office, some letters.
Oh, there's quite a few.
A couple of them. Another incident report.
Ooh, an incident
Anthony.
report? Okay.
Little witch's brochure.
You said a witch's brochure? Ooh. The Towering Man.
Remember him?
So
From
there's
the book?
There's some tails. That looks like just like a tail.
And we got...
Oh my god,
Southwood
this is a
Academy.
Small book. This is a
South Woodland Academy.
Oh, this actually looks legit.
You got that scrap last time, and
That's not
Oh,
all.
Oh, this is out of his locker maybe or something.
What's this? A little black square.
Guys, what is this? What
Probably
the hell
weren't
is
supposed to find that, but look at that. Does that match the coaster?
Yeah,
I think that does.
I think that does match
Yeah.
the coaster. Wow, okay, alright. We'll look more into that in just a
I
moment.
think I said the last episode that I wish it wouldn't be as hard as that one, and I feel like it's gonna be.
Yeah, I think it's
gonna be a little
as
hard.
that one.
I don't know what this is. This is like.
Maybe that's what all this black stuff is from.
Oh! It
Yeah.
fits. It is. This is the stamper that kept running out of ink or whatever.
All right. Well, should I give us our little cover letter?
That's the
here
first thing,
from
right?
Rosemary? Detective, the tide is turning. The search parties have resumed, and I know I have you to thank. When Sheriff Lanning decided to end them a few months back, I told him he was wrong to stop looking, and now he's finally admitted that he made the wrong call. If he'd been searching for all this time, I'm sure we would have already found Liam by now. But I'm not going to allow myself to get wrapped up thinking about all that wasted time when there's this much work to do. Despite the setbacks and challenges, we're still making good progress. Great progress, actually. We found some more of Liam's things. I swear we searched by the old creek a dozen times already, but when I heard one of the volunteers shout, I went running over, and there they were. I recognized his handwriting immediately. He was there at some point. Looks like he was trying to hide some trouble he got into at school. That poor boy was going through so much, and I never knew about half of it. There were other things we found sitting right alongside those papers of his that made no sense at all. Anthony recognized a book that was missing from the museum less than a week ago. How could that have possibly been with the rest of Liam's belongings? There was another thing we found out there too. Something I wish we hadn't. A message from Carver. You guys remember Carver?
Ooh, the Carver.
You mean Carvel?
Carvel. Carvel. That sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. His parents hate him. All right, go ahead.
It was addressed to me in that note. He mentions taking something else, as if he hasn't already taken enough. There's no denying it's been taxing, and not just for me either. For a lot of the folks here in Burkittsville, this isn't their first search party, not by a long shot. Most people refuse to set foot in the forest, and the ones who are willing to head inside usually end up turning their own paranoia into a self-fulfilling prophecy. Take a look at the search party reports, and you'll see what I mean. People let their eyes play tricks on them out there. The blame for that doesn't rest entirely on them. The geography of this place is admittedly pretty confusing. HUD always used to say the forest had a mind of its own, and I'm only now starting to really understand what he meant. It'd be foolish to expect the woods to stay the same over time. But you think by now we've had at least a few sections committed to memory. No, somehow it always feels like you're walking into the unknown. Tank has been a huge help though. Tank's the dog, right?
Yeah, Tank's the dog.
Even when we think we've reached a dead end, that dog is urging us forward, toward my son and the man who took him away from me. What Carver wrote to me makes my blood boil every time I so much as think about it. That arrogant son of a bitch thinks that he can tear my life away from me and rub it in my face. But maybe this is him becoming overly confident. From what I understand, criminals tend to do that just before they get caught. Maybe if we find out exactly what he's planning to do next, we can set some sort of trap for him, or at least prevent whatever it is he's going to try to do. If you're able to find out what it is that Carver wants, let me know using the tip line. And then the address is kentcase.com. Current password is branches12. He's still out there. I can feel it. Rosemary.
Okay.
Now,
So she's
said to read the incident report.
Yeah, that was the first thing I heard. That's why I pulled out the incident report.
Is that what that is?
They said he was trying to hide something at school. That's what they said.
Well, Anthony recognized a book from the museum
I don't think
and
he
his
ever-
school stuff. He
School
hid it
stuff?
out there.
Yeah. This must be what the Carver wrote in symbol.
And then about the search parties, and they get lost out there. Check the party reports.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. So the search party.
I think that
reports.
stuff's first, though.
Okay.
Let's
so
go with
then
that.
all this was in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start here then. The disciplinary action notice, South Woodland Academy. Student name. This is for Liam from a teacher named Megan. What is it? Violence.
You get
Violence. They checked
reasons
the
for
violence
discipline.
box.
Violence.
Yeah. Nature of incident. Liam was caught attacking another student on school grounds about an hour after classes had ended for the day. Liam was straddling the other boy and clawing at his face. Liam's brother, who Liam was about to walk home from school, was present for the altercation and was begging his older brother to stop. Liam kept shouting, "Shut up, skunk!" The fight was broken up by a faculty member. No reason for the altercation was given by either of the boys.
Wow.
The present action held conference with student recommendations. Student should be placed on probation. And then the teacher signed it. Megan signed it. There was no parent signature at the bottom. And that's it on that one.
So the mom never knew.
Yeah. And we have a little note here. Ooh, two-sided. Okay. Let me make sure I'm starting on the right side. Yeah, you look at something. I got to make sure this is the right side. Both of them seem like they're starting a fresh paragraph. I don't think it matters. I don't think there's orientation for beginning and end. I think it's just a bunch of notes.
We got more code. And it's the code from the last game.
Oh, so we're going to have to go back and open up that other board game, yeah? We're going to have to get down again.
I'm going to see if I can find the
All
code.
right, should I go? All right, you're going into the old stuff. Let me go into the new stuff. This note, he disappeared again. I'm going to make a run for it. I can sometimes
There's the
see the
code.
North Star in the sky. If I head away from it, I should be able to get back to town. And then it's like a whole nother, like there's a little picture of a tree, and then the next little paragraph. It's so dark and so cold, and I'm so tired. I don't know how long I've been out here, but I can't sleep. I'm too scared. It's always so silent until I try to sleep. Then the noises come, screeching and laughing and crying and growling. Just have to keep moving. And there's like just a line. It's just a line. And then next paragraph, I could swear that I've been going south for days without veering off course once, but I ended up back at the hollow just the same. He was waiting there for me. He looked up from the fire and laughed at me. And then the next one, tried to run again. He said stop, and I stopped. I didn't want to, but my body just listened. And then the next one, he finally told me what he wants. I guess he told me before I ever followed him into here, but I just didn't listen. I want to throw up, but there's nothing in my stomach. And then the next one, gotta be careful what I leave lying around. I'm using everything Dad taught me. I wish that I had my light with me, but I'm glad I had plenty of pens in my pocket when I left, including a special one. Yeah? A special one? I don't know if anyone's ever going to find this. If they do, I guess it might be on my body, but bodies go unrecovered in these woods all the time. My name is Liam. Please tell my mom and my brother that I'm sorry. I thought that I was going to bring us all back together, but I was wrong. And the next one, he said he'd bring me to my dad, but all we've done for what feels like days is walk deeper into the forest. And the next one, there aren't any birds or deer. There's only Carver. Holy shit. I can't remember the last time I ate, but I don't feel hungry. Empty, but not hungry. We've been walking in circles. I miss Mom. I miss my brother, and I miss Tank. I don't like the way he looks at me, like he knows everything about me. Sometimes he laughs at me. Twice, he told me to keep it down, like he was listening to something I didn't say out loud. When I ask him about Dad, he laughs. Mostly he insists we're making progress, but that's insane. He's insane. And there's like a circle with a 0. We'll give you guys a close-in on that. We reached a clearing with a hollow stump in the middle, surrounded by carvings. He made a fire. I stay near it to stay warm, but I never look into the fire. I see terrible things when I look into it. We haven't moved from this spot in a long time. I don't know what we're waiting for, and he doesn't answer my questions. Sometimes he leaves for hours at a time. I never know when he's back until I hear him breathing. Sticks don't break where he walks. Ooh, that's creepy. Alright, I read this out already, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I showed you guys this picture. We did the incident report. When do you guys want to break down the sheriff's office? I have a few of these pages, and I can break down a few. Alright. This is a Burkittsville History Museum incident report, reported by Anthony Rapinoe. Incident number doesn't matter, okay. Incident description. I know this incident has already been deemed unworthy of report, but I need it on record. Over the past several days, I've been finding the museum's one copy of Witches and Other Warnings where it shouldn't be. At first, it was on the floor near its shelf, where it could easily have fallen off if not shelved correctly. A few hours after I put it back, however, I found it on the floor of my office, then on top of my desk. Each time it shows up out of place, I've reshelved it in its proper position. Just now, when I stepped away from my desk for less than a minute, I came back to find it on my desk and open to a poem about the towering man. I have no idea who could be mooring it. We've seen very little foot traffic in the past few days, and none whatsoever today. No matter how you look at the situation, we've got one of three things on our hand: a carbon monoxide leak, a truly masterful prankster, or a case of supernatural interference. Another update: I just looked up from writing this report, and the book is gone. I'm closing this place early for the day. And that's it. Description: NA, resulting NA, police report filed no. And it's just signed by Anthony Rapinoe.
So he filed a report that a book kept showing
It
up.
keeps moving and being opened up to specific poems in certain spots, and it's just changing. It's just moving.
That's the book right there?
Is this it? Oh, the Witches and Other... I didn't even put that together. This is the book.
Wow.
Okay. We got the book, you guys. We got the book. All right. You diving into this, or are you going right into the book?
I feel like we should read the book now, right?
Yeah, no, they did mention the book. They didn't say nothing about that yet, so.
So, yeah.
If you want to take on a portion of that, I can take on the other half. I know there's quite a few pages.
You know, it's really not that much. There's a lot of
pictures. As much as a child. There's a children's book right there.
I'm really wondering what these numbers coordinate to, dude.
Whoa, we're not there yet. You're already ahead of the game, buddy. Keep it up.
Yeah, I'll read this next.
Hopefully, this information's going in one ear and not out the other. There's an incident report because of it.
This is edited by Anthony Rapinoe as well.
Ooh.
So
wait, so his own book? Jumping around?
I guess.
Okay.
Sure. Makes it a little weirder.
Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
All right. As a lifelong resident of Burkittsville, Maryland, I sometimes have a difficult time describing the undeniable strangeness and power of this remote place to outsiders. There have been many people, both locals and tourists, who call those who believe there to be a kernel of truth in the region's legends crazy or paranoid. However, I contest that it is not uncommon for places with grim and storied histories to take on a certain life of their own. If any place on this earth is alive, it's this one. And if these stories prove anything, it's that I'm hardly the first person to think so. In the following pages, I have compiled a number of tales and poems that have been passed down throughout the years, all centering around the strange creatures that have been sighted in the areas surrounding Burkittsville, formerly Blair, and nearby the Black Hills Forest. I have included a short introduction of each of these tales, contextualizing the material. I've also taken the liberty of modernizing some of the language utilized in older accounts for the benefit of the contemporary reader. Without further ado, I present to you a series of tales that will hopefully open your eyes to the unseen. Anthony Rapinoe. There are contradicting stories as to whether this particular figure is actually the fabled Blair Witch herself or merely one of the many unfortunate souls who is enthralled to her, part of the scores of undying wraiths who have been cursed to do her bidding as they roam the woods in perpetuity. While I was unable to gain a consensus upon the hairy woman's identity, I have found dozens of stories about sighting her, which mostly take place throughout the early to mid 20th centuries. In most of these stories, the woman typically appears at the edge of the woods, waving her hand in an apparent attempt to beckon the witness closer. She often stays at a distance close enough for people to spot the hair covering her body, but far enough away they cannot discern the features of her face. Below I have included the account of a young roofer named Timothy O'Leary. Timothy's family moved to Burkittsville in the summer of 1921 when he was just 17 years old. Within months, he had taken up carpentry and other handiwork alongside his older brother Peter. This account was originally related to his granddaughter and transcribed in 1973. I saw the hairy woman. This was in the summer of 1924 when my brother Peter and I were working on renovating the church. You see, the pastor had recently died, and the poor man had gone a bit odd in the head in his final years and had let the place fall into total disrepair. His replacement hired us to do all kinds of work, rebuilding rotten pews, wiping grime off the stained glass. The woods themselves had even started to grow over the cemetery, although that was mighty quick for wood to grow. So the majority of our time was actually spent cutting down trees whose roots had started to climb over the cemetery fence and encircle the headstones. We prioritized the roof, though, seeing as the damn thing was full of holes. I remember it was particularly hot that day, but we were determined to finish as much of the roof as we could before the sun set. Toward the end of the day, I noticed a figure on the ground below us, and to be honest, I thought it was our mother coming to offer us a pitcher of lemonade. I looked down at her, but she didn't look like anyone I knew. I couldn't see her face because she was under this dark veil. I turned to my brother to ask if he recognized her, but when he looked, he didn't see anyone down there. When I looked again, neither did I. At first, I thought nothing of it. I certainly didn't put much stock into any of the stories of witchcraft I heard. So when I went back to work, bent over the hole of the roof, but soon an eerie feeling came over to me. I felt a prickling at the back of my neck. I looked. And there in the bell tower, right where the bell should have been, was the hairy woman. I didn't scream because my breath was caught in my lungs. The hairy woman was right there, less than 10 feet from me, and I could see that she looked just like the story said. She was covered entirely in fur, but not like the fur of a dog. It was more short and thick, like a horse's coat. Her dress was entirely black, and she wore a veil that covered her face. The hairy woman's feet did not touch the roof, or shelf, or any part of the bell tower. She hung in midair and lifted her hand out to me as if she expected me to take it. It was only then that I screamed. I turned to run, but slipped, having forgotten my position on the canted roof. Thank the Lord for Peter, because he reached out a hand and caught me. If it weren't for him, I would have fallen directly onto the wrought iron fence that wrapped around the cemetery. He asked if I was alright, but all I could do was point. When we looked back at the bow tower, she was gone.
Ooh, creepy.
That's pretty gnarly.
That's as gnarly as that book. That's
Yeah, it
jumping
is.
around.
Alright, the second one.
Wait, just to, I don't want to interrupt. It said it was opened up to a specific poem at one point. Is that poem in here? The Towering Man. That's what it was. This is the one.
I
okay.
was going to
Just
say,
making
this
sure.
looks
Yep,
like it's
no,
a
go
poem.
ahead. Yep,
See,
no
the
shit.
Towering Man
It said that it was
was
opened
the
up on
same
her
thing
desk.
that was in the book.
Yeah, it looks a lot like that drawing. That was in the
Everything's
book.
coming together,
Full
gentlemen.
circle.
All right.
Number 2, The Towering Man. The story of The Towering Man stretches back to at least the 1940s and perhaps even beyond that, and has appeared in several formats. Tales of the Towering Man commonly describe a ghastly figure lurking in the Black Hills forest. This figure is tall despite being hunched over and possesses long limbs. Occasionally, he is described as having a beard that is either full of broken twigs or made of twigs, and having skin made of tree bark. Many tales describe him as the ghost of an executed child killer.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
The particular tale of the Towering Man was a rhyme that gained traction with local school children from the late 50s and continued to circulate into the early 80s, and was recollected to me by lifelong Burkittsville resident Harriet Gillard. She was actually one of the interviews in the first part.
I
She
just gonna
was.
say that name is familiar.
Beware, beware, the Towering Man. For lure and catch and kill he can. He lurks so deep within the wood, you'll have no worries if you're good. But if you venture far from home, if deep into the woods you roam, you'll see what seems a moving tree coming towards you, that is he. On children naughty, glum or mean, in their demeanor he is keen. He draws them in with clever tricks, then snaps their necks like brittle sticks. Best keep your eyes upon the path, unless you want to taste his wrath. For stuffing children in a sack, the man was stretched upon the rack. His final words he yelled so loud, I hope my deeds have made her proud. His mistress is that old Blair Witch, who turned his heart as black as pitch, tore off his skin, wrapped him in bark, and gave him powers of the dark. The Towering Man you cannot fight, your only hope, stay in the light.
Ooh.
Whoa.
It's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
This one has a poem on it too, and there's only like 2 other pages. So I'll just.
Are those drawings, too?
Yeah, there's a bunch
Yeah,
of
so
cool
each one
drawings.
is. The last one was a drawing by a local artist, it said, of his interpretation of
the giant,
her
the towering
I
man.
guess, what's on the page after that?
Looks like a
After
forest.
that.
Ooh, some last final messages.
Illustration by Giovanni.
It's like, does that match this in any way, shape, or form?
Oh, the pale thing you mean? You think this might have something to do with the pale
Hey,
thing?
wait. Is that Liam at a tree?
Stop it. Is that Liam at a tree with the symbols?
Is that Liam at a tree?
Is that Liam's hand jumping out of the graveyard?
It could
Okay.
be.
All right, let's figure it out. Come on, let's
stuff
move on.
out.
Alright, so the third one is The Lights. While most of the tales I've encountered seem primarily concerned with the woods, with figures such as the Blair Witch and the tangled web of her many victims and servants, this legend seems to cite something more ephemeral. The so-called lights occasionally witnessed in Burkittsville's woods have been reported only a handful of times over the past several centuries. However, I found them important to include for that very reason. The rarity of these sightings make them all the more crucial to evaluate and preserve. The following poem was written by William Robertson. Robertson was a renowned Boston-born poet who first came to live in Burkittsville over the winter of 1827 to spend time with his ailing cousin and complete the manuscript of a book of original poetry. Unfortunately, that book never saw the light of day, as Robertson succumbed to a medical condition that was likely dementia short after leaving Burkittsville and returning to Boston. He was relegated to a sanitarium until his death. While his various written works survived him for quite some time, much of the Robertson's materials was lost during a recent fire in the Burkittsville History Museum. This is an account of the lights. I Wow, I cannot fucking read today.
Hypothetically?
No,
hypothesize. Boom.
Dude, I cannot fucking speak. I hypothesize that he wrote this piece after being issued a warning about the lights by his cousin or another concerned Burkittsville citizen. It's the strange white light in the night. The warning that things are far from right. Whether fire glow or something more, best stay inside and shut your door. Even if things seem like they're spinning about, steel yourself and don't go out. Simply close your eyes and hold on tight and pray that you escape the light.
Oh
man.
Jeez, that got creepy.
Bars.
He said, and I'm not a rapper.
I'm not a rapper.
And I'm not a rapper. That's just funny. All right.
Alright, we got one more in here. It's called The Pale Thing. I now come to one of Burkittsville's most enigmatic figures. It is known by many names, although perhaps the most common of these is the Pale Thing. This particular recollection of the Pale Thing is particularly close to my heart, as it comes from none other than a family member of mine. Giovanni Rapinoe moved to Maryland to work at a local sawmill shortly after he immigrated to the United States in 1949, and would often regale with me his tales of the strange and unusual sights he saw while spending his days working in the Black Hills Forest. My grandfather remains alive to this day, but has since moved on from Maryland to a retirement community in Miami. I had him mail me a written recollection of his encounter, as email sometimes proved too difficult for him to handle, and have transcribed this account here. I leave you with this tale, which has always fascinated me the most out of any of my grandfather's stories, due to the cryptic nature of the message that he received from none other than the Pale Thing itself. It was nighttime, like it is in many stories about the Pale Thing. I had stepped outside for a bit of fresh air before I turned in for the night. That was when I glimpsed at a figure that has haunted my dreams ever since. It was off in the distance, but I could see it in the dark due to its near luminescent coloring. It was bright white, maggot white, wearing no clothes and doing exactly what the story said it would, dashing silently through the grass. It was coming from town, headed in the direction of the woods with, I thought, the fervor of an animal pursuing its prey. Long, loping strides drew it away from Burkittsville, but it slowed just before it reached the edge of the woods. The figure turned to look at me, and even at that distance I could clearly see it had no facial features to speak of. I could see nothing but a smooth canvas of skin, protrude and pale, where its face should have been. And then, without a mouth, it spoke a single phrase to me, one it should have been impossible to hear at such a distance, and yet I heard it. I heard it as if the words were whispered right into my ear, as if that pale thing was standing right behind me. I flinched and turned around, but of course there was nothing behind me. When I looked back to the woods, the pale thing was gone, but I will never forget that shape, and I will never forget what it whispered to me. We're not finished yet.
That's definitely the creepiest.
Dude, a dude with no face, we're not finished yet, and then you look
Top it off.
You.
That's the symbol.
That's the symbol
Blair
for Blair
Witch.
Witch. Yeah, it is. Wow. So we got hairy woman,
Is
pale,
that the Blair Witch?
Pale man, towering man, and is that all the three? Towering man, pale man?
It's actually the fabled. So we got the Blair Witch.
Yeah. Well, we think so. It's the hairy woman.
This is Carver, probably.
Probably, but the tower.
The
towering.
lights.
Yeah, the lights that's one we didn't explain yet. We don't.
And then the pale
and then
thing.
the pale thing. So the lights is the one I'm most like. I don't know. We're gonna have to figure out what that's for. Okay. Now we have a Burkittsville Sheriff's Office Deputy Dwight Weathers. Expedition was scheduled to begin exactly at 0900 hours on Sunday, beginning near the History Museum, where Liam Kent's possessions were discovered, and branching out into the Black Hills Forest, which borders the black end of the building. In total, 32 civilian volunteers arrived before they split off into groups. I led a group of 11 individuals into the Black Hills Forest. My group headed due north and stuck to that direction for the entirety of the day. I ordered the volunteers to arrange themselves in a single row, leaving 6-foot gaps between each individual for optimal coverage on the forest floor. And I urged each position to proceed with a clear head and with their full attention. Less than 20 minutes into the search, several volunteers began to ask questions about the Blair Witch. In accordance with Sheriff Lanning's orders, I forbade any discussion of the incendiary topics. We covered ground efficiently, discovering nothing but naturally occurring debris. At one point, one civilian insisted there was smoke visible in the distance, although I saw nothing of the sort when they attempted to point the smoke out to me. Throughout this process, several volunteers sustained minor injuries, including one twisted ankle and several small scratches from nearby thorn bushes. By 10:30, several of my assignees requested to return to town, citing fatigue, though I believe they were afraid to continue much deeper into the forest. At this point, we had reached a dense area where not much sunlight penetrated the canopy of the trees above us, and the temperature dropped by at least 10 degrees to an uncomfortable chill. My efforts to dissuade the volunteers from leaving proved fruitless, and 5 members of my team ventured back. Intending to use the markers we had been leaving throughout the forest as guide, the remaining 7 of us soldiered on. I allowed my volunteers to break for lunch in a small hollow at 1200 hours. At this point, I could sense morale was especially low, and while I blamed the general lack of wilderness preparation, 2 of my volunteers wore dress shoes. I nevertheless did my level best to order comfort. It was during this break at around 12:15 that my group heard the sound of a woman screaming. It was difficult to determine the precise direction from which the scream had come, as the sound echoed through the clearing and seemed to emanate from all directions simultaneously. At the time, I attempted to radio my fellow officers to better triangulate the sound, but my device malfunctioned at the moment and would emit only a crackling static. I directed my 6 volunteers to remain in the hollow while I attempted to track down the source of the scream, leaving markers to trace the path I took through the forest. Throughout this time, my radio continued to malfunction. After nearly 30 minutes of searching, I came to the conclusion that the best course of action would be to regroup and pursue the noise only once I had adequate technology and backup. When I attempted to return, I failed to locate any of the trail markers that I had left behind me. I was later debriefed that a member of Officer Howard's volunteer team sustained a severe compound fracture, amongst other injuries. I assume that this noise must have carried to the clearing. Okay, so someone got hurt at the end there. Deputy Weathers, alright, the same guy. It took me almost 3 hours to find my way back to the hollow, and my 6 volunteers, who were in the middle of a screaming fight with one another about how best to proceed, had I abandoned them or if some terrible fate had befallen me. I de-escalated the situation and directed us to head back south to our original meeting point. The trail markers we had used to mark our northern journey appeared to be untouched. However, minutes into our trek south, at precisely 15:58, we began to discover symbols carved into the trunks of trees we had marked. While most of the symbols were inscrutable to me, some appeared to be humanoid in shape, and I would have taken photographs of them, but I realized I did not have my camera with me and that I must have left it at the hollow. At this point, I lost control of my team. I attempted to regain control of the situation and instill an air of calm, but this effort was defeated by one volunteer who began frantically claiming that she saw someone watching us through the trees. Neither I nor the other 5 volunteers saw what she had seen, but nevertheless we proceeded south on high alert. My party exited the woods just before nightfall at 17:22. Okay, this is the same sheriff's office, but this is Officer... Is that Michelle Howard?
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Howard. We haven't heard that name yet.
No.
I connected with my 11 volunteers at 0900 on the dot and established our manner of approach. Should anyone come across any personal effect or sign of human activity in the forest, they were to immediately notify me. Several members of my group expressed concern with venturing into the Black Hills forest, and I did my best to calm their nerves despite being slightly on edge myself. Deputy Weathers was already on site and did little to ease the tension. I confirmed that each person was equipped with adequate supplies, whistles to get my attention, bottles of water, visibility vests, flashlights, evidence bags, and flags to mark any place of discovery or interest. We established the back of the History Museum as our starting point and headed east from there. Our group progressed for about an hour, eventually coming to the creek that had already been the subject of several prior searches for Liam Kent. It
It was when we attempted to pass over this creek at approximately 10:05 that an injury occurred. One volunteer slipped down a steep embankment, falling into the creek itself. I was able to recover her, but it was immediately clear that she had become gravely injured. Several inches from the bone of her right forearm was exposed, and she was bleeding heavily from a long gash in her head. I dressed the volunteers' injuries as best as I could with the medical supplies I had on hand and attempted to radio for medical backup, but my radio had begun malfunctioning. Several of my volunteers attempted to call medical services from their phones, but none of them were able to get a signal that far into the forest. As I was reluctant to split up from my group for fear of individuals becoming lost, I felt there was no option but to attempt to escort the volunteers back to our meeting point on foot and contact medical services from the radio in my vehicle. The injured volunteer became groggy and unfocused at this point, mumbling nonsensical phrases underneath her breath. Myself and another volunteer carried her, doing our best to help her maintain consciousness. After walking back west for about a half hour, my group came across a small hollow. The injured volunteer expressed the desire to sit and rest for a time, and I obligated her. It was in this hollow that I discovered a camera, which I recognized as property of the sheriff's office. I realized that another group of volunteers must have left it behind accidentally. My group rested for about 20 minutes before pressing onward.
Do the times match up there? I don't think so.
They said they started at 0900. This girl started with her group at 0900.
Yeah,
he started at 0900.
They hung out in the hollow at the end of the day and left, whereas she's at the start of the day and the camera's there. Does that make sense to you guys?
Were they late though? I'm trying to remember. Did they go to the hollow
so,
late?
Right?
They went to the hollow late.
The
and
hollow was
early.
their last spot, and then they left at the end of the day.
And she's saying she found a camera early. Okay, now we're on the same page.
And it's the camera from that guy.
I'm pretty sure too that there was something in another part that said like time wasn't the same in the forest.
Time's not a factor there.
Oh! Okay. After another 20 minutes of walking back towards our meeting point, I realized the sun appeared to be near setting, even though it was not yet 1200 according to my clock. The injured volunteer began to groan and talk about becoming condemned to the forest. I urged my group to push onward. After another 10 minutes, we emerged from the forest back in our original meeting point at the History Museum, running into Deputy Weathers' group. I was finally able to radio medical services. The display on my watch was 17:24.
So it was 12 o'clock, and then 10 minutes passed, and it was 17:24.
Yes.
So 5
She
hours
said,
passed and
it
10
was a
minutes.
paragraph. It said after 20 minutes, it was 1200. Next paragraph. After 10 minutes, it was 1724.
5 hours passed. in 10
Holy
minutes.
shit, that's actually a sketch. I didn't pick that up perfectly right away. Good eye. Alright. This is Officer Gail Cooper. My town volunteers and I embarked from the rendezvous point at 0900 heading due west. So the first one was south or north. The other one was opposite of this. This one's west, the other one was east, and the other one was north or south. About 15 minutes into our search, one volunteer shouted, drawing the group's attention to something that we had discovered. It was a dead bird. At first glance, it appeared that the bird had perhaps fallen out of its nest and landed at the base of the tree. However, it soon became clear that someone had mutilated the animal.
Oh.
Ooh. The bones of its wings had been removed and jammed into its own eye socket.
What?
The volunteer claimed he followed the sound of a crying animal to that spot, but he must have been mistaken because the bird had clearly been dead for a long time, judging by its smell. I convinced him to move along. After that, I could tell that a number of my team members had a hard time focusing. Hoping to calm down my group, I called for an early lunch break at 1100. Rosemary Kent, who was one of my group members, had brought some sandwiches for the dinner.
From the diner.
From the diner? Is that what it says? Yeah, from the diner. And my team took a half hour to eat and regain some energy in a small hollow before pressing onward. Still following my compass west, I led my group until we came upon a creek. This was strange, as I had been certain that there was only a creek in the immediate area was the one to the east of the History Museum, which we had searched many times before. Nevertheless, I directed my party to scan the creek and surrounding woods. Minutes into our scan of the area, at approximately 11:52, we found Liam Kemp's belongings. I asked my volunteers not to touch anything, and I took photos of the scene. I marked the location in case we need to come back for more thorough research of the area. I then attempted to radio the news of my discovery out to the other groups, but found that my device was malfunctioning. Although Rosemary Kent urged me to press onward, I decided that it was more important to enter the items we had already found into evidence. Additionally, we could not, in good conscience, guide the group further into the woods without a reliable radio. We began to follow our compass back east to our initial rendezvous point. Within minutes, we encountered 5 members of Deputy Weather's team, who informed us that they had decided to leave the search party early, but had become lost in the woods. Taking almost 3 hours to make a trip that should have taken a half hour long, despite having followed the trail markers they initially set out due south, they must have wandered off course and found my group's trail markers instead. We walked east for another hour until we reached the rendezvous point. Despite the fact that we had spent at least 4 hours in the forest, the sun appeared not to have barely left its position at all. I checked my watch and discovered that it was 09:55.
So it was 55 minutes.
So it was only 55 minutes, the whole thing.
How is it only 55 minutes if...
This is
It's a
11:02.
creek. Didn't she run
Yeah,
from the
minutes
creek?
into our scan of the area at approximately 11:52, we found Liam Kemp's belongings. And then at the end of it, he checks his watch, and it's back to 9:55 in the
None of
morning.
it makes sense.
And that less than an hour had appeared to pass since we first embarked. Once we processed Liam's things, I highly recommend that we get them released to the mother of the missing boy as soon as possible. I think it would mean a lot to her. Holy
None of that makes sense.
shit,
Think
dude,
if I
all
remember-
those times are fucked.
From the movie, don't they like go around
I've
a
never
bunch
seen the movie.
and like
I don't
time?
know.
I
I've
think
never seen
I
the
think
movie,
they go
dude.
around and they like lose where they're at, and it takes like longer at some points, and like I think it's all.
It's tying together. Because
Yeah.
I've never seen the movie, so you're onto something. I'm not. So okay, so that's all that. So we know that a whole bunch of things happened, and things
And
didn't
they
even
don't
make sense.
coordinate
Yeah,
time-wise.
one happens at 9, one happens at 12, and then one guy. The first party they said it happened at noon, and then they ended coming back at around midnight. The second guy, it was like at very average time, and then the very last group went out for only what seemed to be 55 minutes.
What I don't understand is the second group ran into something that happened at the end of the day from the first group.
Yes, they left
But
the
it was
cameras.
at midday.
Which does not correlate to the other story.
No.
Okay.
So, I got a message from Carver to Rosemary here with a little code that I deciphered while you guys are reading stuff. So we'll go over that here in a sec. But here's the actual message. Rosemary, putting 2 and 2 together, now that I opened Blair Witch, Box 2, does this notepad color look familiar?
It's the same one as.
Wait,
as
that's
the
from that's
second
ripped
one.
out of the notepad?
Yeah,
From the dad.
yeah.
Oh, so the paper from. Oh, okay.
This was the dad's paper.
Yeah, that same type with like the little. notches
Not
and
not just the color and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was the older paper. Maybe
Okay. I see where you're going with this.
it's Carver or the. We is it? Do we think this is what we think it is?
What, you think Carvers might be Pops? Is that what you're saying?
Daddy.
He is a
Huh?
wood carver,
Carver
right?
is-
I said Pops. You said Daddy.
he is a wood carver.
Oh, he was a carpenter the whole time, right? He was a carpenter. He was cutting down trees for wood when he died.
Renovated.
Yeah, he
building.
renovated the building. That's what he did. So carpenter. Okay. All right. Go on. Continue.
Read to us. Say
Okay,
Show me the way.
Rosemary, I know you've been dying and dying. Look at that.
Ooh.
To find me, I can feel you begging in your sleep. I watch you cry like a pathetic child when you think there's nobody around. Keep trying to find me. It's delicious to watch you stumble around the woods. You don't know it yet, but you're going to die, oh, so terribly, terribly alone. I will take what she asked for, and you cannot stop me. We are not finished yet. Carver.
And she said what he left behind drove her nuts. That's what it was. He's just cocky as hell. He's like, you want to get... We're about to get fucked. All right.
And so the code, I deciphered the code with the code from Box 2.
Okay, yeah. You used the coding for box 2.
And it's just numbers that I don't honestly understand. It goes 41, 42, 75, 14.5, 22.5, 7.3, 23.4, 14.3, 8.6, 858157.
Hear me out.
Okay.
What if this is like fours is D? You know, like it's the numbers of the alphabet numbered. What if it's another code?
So, DA, DB.
Never mind. Terrible idea.
No, I didn't even think that you meant like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, I see what you're trying to do. Okay, so then we have a bunch of numbers that we don't know what to go to, and the only two
we
things
got
we
this
haven't
picture,
clocked yet.
which my little theory is that Liam's hand hanging out of the tree there?
Yeah, and we already
This
showed
is
you
his
guys.
tree, and that's the code of the tree to get to him.
This symbol is. I want to make sure it's exactly the same.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. It's exactly the same. Wait, this is not missing.
No, it's
like
not.
this is the same as this though. Look at this corner. This is the way it's supposed to be. Like that line right there. That line right there.
Yeah, but it goes like this.
And you see the X right there? That X is missing here.
I wonder where's
goes
that
like
little.
this.
I think they
square
complete
thing?
each other.
Where's
I
the
think
little square? Rub it on.
Oh,
Rub it on what?
On the wood. I think maybe I don't know.
Guys, I don't want to mess it up. Am I supposed to do this?
I don't know.
Guys, we are actually, there's one end of this that actually leaves ink, and I just inked the wood, and we're making sure that that's what we're
maybe
supposed
we're
to be
not
doing.
supposed to do that. Maybe we're
Should we
supposed to
ink
do
the
that on
page?
some paper.
So there's no crazy fun light stuff? Should we, this is just releasing some weird ink. I don't know if it's ink or what it is.
It's Dwight Schrute's pee.
It is. Should I?
Well, we need this.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I don't want to do this on anything I shouldn't do it on. Because this is for real ink.
So we've read through everything, right?
So that's obviously just the texture. It just leaves like a texture print, basically. Is there any texture on anything? There's texture on this, but that's it.
Notice how the middle though.
Yeah, no, that's just. I think it's just supposed to like outline texture like that, like
No.
the texture of the paper, because that's the texture of this. Oh, what are you trying to get it to go away or something?
Why is there a dip in the middle?
That's just. I think that's just
I think that's where
all the ink.
Yeah,
I think we're just
that's
wasting
it.
it type deal.
Are we?
Yeah, I think we're just wasting it.
Put a piece of paper over the top of the wood.
Well, what are we gonna get?
That's
from
a
that?
big brain.
Put a piece of paper over the wood.
That is
oh,
a
and
big.
Then,
Because
and
look
then-
at this.
Oh, you son of a bitch, Matt. All right,
Maddie C behind
Alright.
the camera.
give it up for Maddie C. All right, let's do it. Grab a piece of paper. Dude, if this works, I'm gonna be stunned. I'm gonna be literally fucking stunned. Okay. So now complete the symbol. Oh, it's giving you the symbol, dude. It's giving you something. Keep going. Is that the same symbol that's what's on the marking,
I
though?
don't think it's giving me all of it, but I think he was onto a right idea.
I think he's onto something for sure, because the texture print that you get from marking that thing. You keep moving it, you gotta hold it perfectly still. Here, let me do this.
Put pressure
Go.
for me.
So that's definitely a Blair Witch symbol, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
So it's, I mean, but we kind of knew that, right?
My thought though
But you don't see that on there, do
is,
you?
is this
see-
the missing parts to this?
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking if you line
Oh.
that up on top where it's...
Because, like, see, this is missing the cross. The cross is here. The cross is here on this one, but it's missing here. So it's the exact opposite of what's on this piece of paper. You see what I'm saying? Because of the cross there. There's no cross there. Oh, you're trying to do some slick shit.
It didn't work.
So this definitely... I think this is a really good idea, but I'm trying to think. Because this is for sure filling this, but we can kind of imagine what this looks like. What does that give us?
It says to decipher the code.
What are you trying to do? Trying to match it up perfectly, dude? I don't know if that's going to work. Because then you're going to color it in and it's not going to... I don't know. Do you want me to do it? I don't know if we should do it.
I feel like that's it, but if we mess it
I
up...
definitely think that's, like, I get it. Like, that's for sure it, and we color it in, it would complete the picture, but if we don't get it right, or if we write in the picture and we're not supposed to. But I see what you're saying. I get it. It's for sure intertwines the same way. So I'm like... Because, like, this here, you see, there's no line, and then, like, this black, whatever this dark is on this, turned out to be the white on this. So I don't know if that mattered.
I got an idea. Why don't we...
Wait, what's your goal here?
All right,
Alright,
What's
so,
your idea?
Hand me that piece of
So what do you guys even think
journal,
about that?
journal paper.
Because I got nothing out of that. to be
This.
honest.
Journal paper.
I literally
and
got
then
nothing.
Can you hand me the school report?
With the incident report?
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I'm gonna keep trying to match these up.
So I don't
I'm
know
feeling
why.
it's like this.
I don't know why this came in my head when you read it, but he didn't. And I know that he calls him this, but he didn't say his name. He called his brother Skunk.
Yes.
And
He's always called him Skunk. He was in the first and second one too.
right. But I don't know. When you read it, it just kind of caught me. And this is the part that's got me thinking. He said, this is Carver talking to her. You don't know it yet, but you're going to die oh so terribly, terribly alone. Who's the one person she has left?
Skunk.
I think the answer to this whole episode is Skunk. Yeah.
Okay, no, that makes sense though, because she literally, you said she's gonna die terribly alone, and the only person she has no dad. She's missing the one son. The only son left is Skunk. Wow, this girl has no one left, and he's about to come after the last one. Is that what you think?
I'm gonna try. Yeah, I'm gonna try it because I think
One sec, B. Are you onto some fishy shit? What are you
I
on?
lost where I was. It's hard
Hey guys, look. He said I'm lost. Look at this shit. all right, come on.
All right, it's branches 12.
Hey, we were on to something. we were on to something.
What if I'll keep trying. I'll keep trying.
Keep doing it just for shits and gigs. Is it even gonna give you a texture off of that?
All right, new message.
Wait, no. So they said they want exactly. Open Rosemary's tip line and send her the name of what the Carver is after now, and we are going to hope that we're right when we say that they're after Skunk,
I'm sending it.
which would be Liam's brother.
Send.
Okay.
I want it in your box.
Because the Carver said Rosemary's gonna die alone. The only person Rosemary has left is one son.
This is the moment of truth right here.
This is the son.
I'm gonna open it.
Okay.
I was
Dude,
fucking
you're
right!
right, dude.
I was right, bro. I'm Jimmy Neutron.
Dude, I was gonna say, guys, we set up the whole light thing before he even knew he was right.
I love this so much. All right.
That's awesome as fuck. That's you're crazy, dude. You're crazy. Give it up for John.
So he's trying to eat all the kids.
I think so.
No, so he's taking everything away
We
from
got-
Rosemary. He hates Rosemary.
Yeah, we got
Wow.
a 2-minute message from
Full-
Rosemary.
okay,
so
fucking
let's
send it.
let's
I can't
send
believe
it.
you were right, dude. You're on.
Skunk, dude.
That's the most big brain.
Dude,
I've
that's
ever
really
been,
yeah.
ever will
John
be.
was like, I
That was the
think I might.
first attempt.
That was. We've never gotten that, have we? We maybe
Okay. First
kind
time.
of a genius.
All
All right.
All right.
No, not Tristan. Not my little skunk. I'm on my way home right now. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Of all the times to be stopped at a goddamn red light. Come on. Turn green, damn it. Turn green. Turn green. That psycho. He's not going to get what he wants. Not again. Not ever again. Oh no. I called Lanning's office. He should be on his way. I'm going to rip Carver's head off. I'm going to scatter his body all through the woods. Tristan? Tristan? Honey, please answer me right now. Tristan? Tristan! Where are you? Tristan! Tristan! Oh no! He's gone! Oh no! I won't let this happen! Not again! And you're not going to either! We are going to fix this. That's Lanning. I'm going to have to talk to him. I'll be in touch.
A little pushy.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
fucked. That whole thing is fucked. I will not. We will not.
You didn't really give me a choice here.
Yeah. Wow, you guys. I can't believe. I have to start out with, I'm stunned you were right.
I am too.
Yes.
I can't believe you were right.
I had the theory that this was
Because out of
just,
all these pieces of paper, you picked out that little bit of information. That was like the second thing I read.
I mean, he clearly said that he was going to make her alone. and-
Yeah. I honestly remembered the whole skunk and everything, but even if I went to the answer, I would have typed in Liam's brother.
I thought
wouldn't
it
have
was
typed
Blair.
in
He
skunk
wants
like it's
Blair
so
Witch,
right.
dude. He wants the look.
Yeah, wow, dude. Wow, dude. I can't believe you were right on first go.
So that's
Wow.
part 3, and now he's Tristan's gone. Skunk is
Dude,
gone.
Skunk
Skunk
is
is
gone.
gone.
So the whole
And she said she's
family-
gonna rip Carver's head off and spread it across the forest.
And I'm still really focused
on the numbers.
Why? Not the the numbers. What do they coordinate for?
Yeah, what do we need
For
those
one,
for?
that picture. What does that solve? And then 2, why is this on the same stuff that the dad?
Yeah,
True,
honestly, that
hold
you
on,
saying
true.
that kind of got me too. I was like, because the dad only had two pieces of paper in this whole campaign so far, and they've been the same.
Hopefully we use the other stuff for one of the future parts, or I might have fucked up by saying the answer just by getting the hint. But I think that was a
Yeah, I was gonna say the
pretty
thing.
good hint.
Yeah, because she said terribly alone. You know as well as all of us, we just weren't thinking about it. That skunk was the only thing that she had left. It does make sense how you got the information. We're just like, wow, you
We were
you
focused
ahead
on
again.
this thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were a step ahead because I had this in my hand. We were trying to do this.
I feel like it's another one of those.
Is this come together for a
psychological
picture
thing.
of a skunk? Maybe.
I was even thinking maybe within these lines it might spell skunk, but I don't know. I have no clue.
I feel like when you put them together.
But I'm just glad that you picked up the information
I don't know.
verbally because I don't know.
Same.
Wow. So that was a good end to episode 3, though. I think that was a good episode. I think the 4th episode is going to be really sick, though. I think it's going to be nice. We're going to go in. We're going to really figure out what the hell they're going on.
Now we got to fight for 2 kids.
I was going to say, now we're fighting for more than just
God
Liam.
damn.
I'm already busy enough. I got these 2 kids missing now, man.
Okay, well, I guess that's going to wrap it up for our 3rd episode today here on Yooosin to Hunt a Killer. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys subscribe if you guys want some more content. And we got episode 4 already in the works. I hope you guys are ready for it. It's going to be right up here. I hope you guys click on it. Have a good day.
See you in the next one.